The concept of descendants of humans and demons was a subject of debate in the Middle Ages. Demidemons are rare immortal, demon-human hybrids that are the offsprings of unholy unions between our two races. To reproduce with a human, a demon must assume a biological form. A vampire is created when a human who has been entirely taken over by a demon mates with that human. A vampire is technically regarded as a quarter demon. Demons are uncommon, since angels constantly work to prevent them from taking on biological forms, yet some always manage to worm their way up from hell. Given that biological demons were more prevalent in the distant past, the majority are among the oldest immortals on earth and are exceedingly old. The darkness that pours through their wicked veins makes their dazzling beauty quite a deceit. Of course, there have been instances of people being persuaded by their human half, which can lessen their evil deeds. Apart from their vivid crimson eyes, which they frequently conceal by giving another color, they look perfectly human. The hue will change back to crimson when someone is upset or distracted. Their facial features become rather grotesque when angry or on purpose, revealing their true demonic nature. When compared to first-generation vampires, who also undergo comparable facial transformations, their appearance might be significantly more repulsive. They will seem more horrible the more furious they are. Contrary to first-generation vampires, who have 4 fangs, 2 upper and 2 lower, all other vampires only have 2 upper fangs, but descriptions of these transformations differ. They use their teeth to satisfy their hunger for human blood and flesh. There are actually 2 or 4 fangs that can be independently exposed and drawn back. Maybe they do this to look like vampires, or maybe they just do it for looks. Demidemons are incredibly strong creatures with agility, speed, and strength that exceed their human size and look. The majority of men are at least 6 feet tall and quite strong. The women are also incredibly tall, yet their slim femininity gives the impression that they are feeble, while in fact they are just as strong as the men. All have extremely increased perceptions of taste, touch, hearing, and smell. They also have a variety of psychic abilities that are too numerous to describe, although the majority of them have the ability to read minds, exert complete control over other individuals, and use a wide range of telekinetic skills. Additionally, they possess innate magical abilities that develop through time. Their demonic heritage informs this magic. Overall, their abilities greatly outweigh those of vampires from the first generation. Demidemon reproduction is subject to some constraints. They cannot reproduce with people of their own kind for unclear reasons. Since immortal hybrid beings are frequently infertile, this is not very unusual. Since demidemons are made from only demon DNA and a demonic virus, they can turn people into their own kind in the same way that vampires do, by draining their blood and injecting a virus that resembles a vampire. Despite this, there are some signs that certain first-generation vampires can breed with certain demidemons, the sole vampire generation capable of procreation. These vampires can only have 1 child in their lifetime, while twins are possible. A formidable vampire demidemon hybrid, or something like 2 3/4 demon, would result from such a mating. We have not come across any evidence of such a being, so if they do exist, they are carefully concealed. Given how slowly vampire offspring develop, that would be a fascinating case. They are not susceptible to religious artifacts, as are all beings descended from demons. But because of the enormous number of people who practice Christianity, and a curse God imposed on devils, Christians in particular tend to be the most powerful. The repulsive and destructive effects of numerous objects, such as holy crosses, crucifixes, holy water, holy fire, and Bibles etc., employ the humanity within hybrid demonic entities as a conduit to their own annihilation. Therefore, vampires are more susceptible to a holy cross than a demidemon would be. While a pure demon in biological form would be better able to withstand religious components, since they lack humanity, a demon possessing a human would typically be the most vulnerable. In the face of these potent forces of evil, the use of holy objects might serve as a diversion to clear the path for your escape, but we wouldn't advise doing so. Definitely not to be used as a weapon of war. The best course of action when facing a demi-demon is magic. However, facing a human-demon hybrid would require serious magic. The sunshine does neither repel or significantly weaken demi-demons because they can dwell there for as long as they choose and still carry out their normal functions. Consequently, why would a demon ever think about mating with a human? It is impossible to conceive a demon child against the consent of a human. Without consent and without the human being's complete knowledge, the kid cannot be born. It is possible that such partnerships are subconsciously repelled by the human soul by nature. So why on earth would a demon ever consider mating with a human? A human cannot be forced to have a demon child. The child cannot be born if it is not consensual or without the human being's complete understanding. It's possible that the human soul inherently and unconsciously rejects such couplings. Sometimes it's out of love, but more often it's a premeditated scenario to prepare demonic agents among humanity for war when showdown between good and evil begins. Most demi-demons desire to see the devil in charge and turn earth into hell. Following their victory over the heavenly forces of good, they anticipate becoming full-blooded demons as a reward. Most demi-demons at the moment travel the earth carrying out evil tasks for their demon parent. Due to the fact that they have direct lines of communication with hell, they also serve as ambassadors of hell on earth. Like vampires, demi-demons get stronger the longer they live and try to eat as many people as they can. Travelers, the supreme universe-wide free agents, also have the ability to change into demi-demons. Humans who have mastered accessing their entire mind, and by extension their soul, are considered travelers. They have complete freedom to act as they like, and to exit this reality whenever they want. They transform from their biological form into entities made entirely of light and energy. They resemble natural holograms in many ways. However, in certain situations, power gets to their heads, and they acquire a negative megalomania with a deep god complex, resulting in horrible crimes. They gradually return to their biological form, although many of their abilities are still present. However, their human-like shape eventually changes into a demi-demon. The Antichrist will be a demi-demon, created by the devil, the supreme archdemon of all demons, who will assume biological form in order to mate with a particular evil-natured human. Since there are only a handful unproven old legends of such beings existing, this will really make the Antichrist a very uncommon demi-archdemon. It will need a specific ceremony performed by evil earthly magicians to covertly resurrect the devil long enough to carry out the deed, because the devil is number one on heaven's bounty list. Demons are genderless, much as angels, but the devil could take on either a male or female form. In either scenario, the mother or father of the Antichrist will be a suitable villain. This human parent will be responsible for rearing the offspring of hell with a wicked stepfather, who might occasionally voluntarily succumb to the devil for special satanic rituals.